is salaries. That's where everyone's eyes goes to immediately. And I'm pleased to tell you that consistently for the past 5 years, our admin spend has been under 16%. For every rand that you donate to Santa, whether you donate or you give or however you want to call it, less than 16 cents is spent on our total administration. And yet we have 29 full-time officers, 113 full-time staff. We do work every day in the field, well, virtually every day, we count Sundays off. And we consider ourselves a full-time organization. So we've spent less than 16 cents to the rand in dispersing 85 million in the last financial year. And I think that is a fantastic achievement, not only for ourselves, but for the Ummah, who keeps us on our toes. Our aim ultimately is to reduce that 16 cents, the official 16 cents donation amount, to as low as possible. And that's only going to be possible once we start generating other forms of income and have other forms of sort of income generating revenue, inshallah. And we will talk about that a bit later. For those of you who've been following from the very first email that went out probably about 2 weeks ago until yesterday, you would have noticed that the theme of the invitation was to teach a man to fish. I don't know if you could pick that up. Alright? So I've got only one fishing rod, I don't have enough for everyone. It's a special one that I'm going to give to a special guest a bit later. But really, the sense of philosophy is not only teach a man to fish, and women. And you'll know why I say women a bit later. Not only do we teach people to fish, we even give the fishing rod, we even give the hook, the bait, and the weight. And if need be, we even teach the person how to fish. Because part of our psyche in the past few years has been that this community and the work of Zakat cannot depend and is not sustainable on the handout model. It's not sustainable. And we are the first to recognize that we've made some unfortunate contribution in that regard in the earlier years. But certainly we've tried in the last 15 years at least to reverse that trend within the Zakat fund. So one of the tough decisions we've taken as a board is that we're going to start dedicating 60% of our income to developmental initiatives. And as a first step in that regard, 25% of our annual income is dedicated to bursaries at tertiary level. So I'm pleased to tell you that just over 12 million this year will be invested in education at the tertiary level, besides other initiatives that we take. The program that we are here to honor tonight has its own budget and is a separate budget, and the way they work is they work at trying to upgrade and to skill beneficiaries so that they become potential players in the future. The challenge that I have tonight, and you will notice that there are two stages, right? That's the main stage, and this is the side stage. So again, for those of you who've been in previous shows of this kind, you would have noticed that I was normally the MC, the keynote speaker, and the comedian. I played all three roles. But because FNB are the sponsors this year, they could dictate the terms of the arrangement for this evening. So I gave them a dedicated platform on that side. I kept this one for myself. Alright, so I'm going to be alone on the stage. But actually, particularly tonight, and I will introduce the two speakers later, or the two other guests who are going to share the platform with me later. I'm actually going to share the guest with a fellow, I wouldn't call it alumni, because certainly I did not complete my MBA, but my alma mater. So up to 2 years ago, I could stand on stage and I was like really sharp myself. I was a graduate of the Social Entrepreneurship program at Gibbs, but today there's somebody who's a few notches, many more notches above me, who's done his MBA in Gibbs. So I'm humbled in your presence, Marcel. It's something I need to work towards, so I can stand on the stage with pride in a few years' time, also to say I'm an MBA. But also I learned my jokes reading Archie comics. So you know that Archie comics are like 20 years old, am I right? So I've really got 20-year-old jokes. And so what we've done tonight is we brought on a professional comedian. I'm going to introduce the comedian a little bit later. He is amongst us. He's actually eavesdropping on one of the conversations. So don't be surprised if what you say comes back to bite you. I won't tell you who he is. I want to conclude this session before we have the official starters. Can I get an indication from the caterers here? Uncle Ahmed? The caterers, are we ready with the starters? You need 2 or 3 more minutes? Just give me an indication when you're ready. So we're trying to catch up on some time. So please bear with me. I've got something official written down, but I have to now sort of wing it, right? So while we're preparing for the starters, let me tell you 2 things. One is there's a table near the main stage, which is where the actual attention should be later this evening. In fact, as soon as I stop, that's where the attention should be. And seated on the table are the 9 of the top achievers of the last 18 months. Now let me be very clear about this. We've sponsored close on to 70 odd people in the past 18 months, Hassan. Many of them are still successful in running. In fact, we boast a 60% plus success rate in our program. But of the 60%, we've identified these 9 as the exceptional or the super entrepreneurs among our group. But in order not to favor one over the other, because we do have some pets, Hassan, all right? And I mean that in every sense, Hassan. What we've asked you to help us with by SMS and by email, so we do have some polls taken by SMS and by emails, but I've also placed on your table a voting sheet. So maybe I'll ask, if you don't mind, in 2 minutes, if everyone, again, it's a bonus, right? But really from Sanzap, we want to express our deep gratitude to yourself and to your team, and of course to FNB, for having the foresight, number 1, but also the confidence in Sanzap. The fact that you are prepared to put your brand and your reputation, and I don't mean you as Ahmad as an individual, I mean as an institution, behind Sanzap means a tremendous amount to ourselves. So just for the purpose of the audience, besides sponsoring this evening, FNB has entered into a partnership with Sanzap, and they will be supporting the entrepreneurship program directly by way of a sponsorship to run the program. That's number 1. Number 2, through his own network, both internally as well as externally, Ahmad has managed to bring on a number of assessors. Hassan will tell you about that a bit later. Mentors and assessors, maybe some of you are seated in this room, to help in the process of how we run our program. Hassan will fill you in on that process a bit later. So really, Ahmad, from my side, I want to thank you. If it means anything to you, Mr. Klassen, he is an astute businessman. It wasn't from his own pocket, he had to go back and justify. And so he was a hard person to negotiate with. But at the same time, he's soft enough to understand and to appreciate the kind and the value of work that we're trying to achieve, inshallah. And so I want to take this opportunity, Ahmad, to thank you.